Greetings. This is the first video in a set that I'm doing to address some problems that we had on the AutoCAD certification test. This one is Chamfer. This is the, you can call it the Chamfer video. And we're going to talk about the Chamfer tool in this video and how to use it. Now on my screen I have a rectangle, just a plain old everyday rectangle. You can draw one if you want, or actually let's do draw a rectangle. We're going to use the Polyline tool. So I'll type Polyline. Start point, we'll just arbitrarily choose a point, and let's see, let's make this about 30 units, enter, by 15 units, and then of course we'll use our reference system to create this corner right here and there. So basically we got a 30 by 15 unit rectangle. You can say inches if you want to. Now, one thing to remember, when you get into the test, do not change the way that the computer reads your measurements. Leave it the same. Leave it just like it is. It naturally defaults to reading. It reads in inches and feet, but it reads in decimal form. Okay, so leave it like that. So we're still in that decimal form for our exercise here. And we want a chamfer. Let's say we're asked to chamfer this corner. Well, some of the information that we're given to chamfer, we may have distance information telling us the distance that we're supposed to place this chamfer from the corner. And let's say this is the corner right here. The information will tell us to chamfer, to make this chamfer, let's say 5 units on the top line and then 3 units on the adjacent line. This will be the adjacent line right here. Top line, adjacent line. Okay, and that's how the instructions will probably look. In doing so, we need to chamfer, start the chamfer tool by typing chamfer and then enter. And then it says in our instructions and our dynamic input right there, it says select first line, or there's more information down here in the command line. Now this one is set by distance. This chamfer will be set by distance, so I'm looking at distance here. The D is in blue, so I could type the letter D and enter to get a box so I can numerically enter a distance. Now this again is a distance from this corner. All right, right now it says 4 because that's what I used the last time I used that. I'm going to make this, let's see, I'm going to make it, let's see, 10. So 10 units from this corner on the top line. Okay, so the first chamfer distance is very important that you recognize this, that specifying the first chamfer distance is referring to that first line that you're going to choose, that you plan to choose to make this chamfer. So it's going to be 10 inches or 10 units, however you want to say that. And then I type enter to select that. Specify second chamfer distance. That is referring to the adjacent line or the second line you plan to pick after that first line to make this chamfer. Now chamfer of course has to be over a corner. So you're going to choose your first line, then you're going to choose the adjacent line to it. We're going to make the second chamfer 5 units. Enter. So now it's telling me to select first line. So I select first line after entering all that information. And then I select the second line. Oops. Okay, so there is that chamfer that is 10 units from this corner this way, okay, going along your x-axis. And then it is 5 units, I believe it was, I typed in 5 units from this corner down your y-axis to there. Okay, so if that's the information that you're given to have it a certain distance from this corner for your X and then your Y, that's how you would enter it. Now sometimes they might give you a distance and an angle. Okay, so they have a distance on one line. Let's say they want to chamfer this bottom right hand corner here, and they want that chamfer to be, let's say 5 units up this line on the y-axis, and then 20 degrees from there to the adjacent line down here on the x-axis. Okay, so I enter the chamfer tool again, hit the enter button, again, it says select first line or, so I'm going to go down here and look and see what my other instructions could possibly be. Here is angle. Okay, so I type A, enter, and it goes through a series of requests here, and it says specify the length on the first line. So the first line that I intend to use to make this chamfer is going to be 5 units, and that is going to be this line right here. I'm planning to use that line at 5 units. Now specify the chamfer's angle from the first line. So the angle that I want is 20 degrees. So I type in 20 and hit enter. And I select that first line, and see, did it select? First line, and then the adjacent line. And then I get a chamfer that is 5 units from this corner here. All right, and then the units here are not measured. It is, I want a degree, an angle. So 5 units in here at 20 degrees down this way, and we can cut that corner off just like that. Okay, so those are a couple of ways that you might see this. Another approach is you might get a shape. Let's say you have another rectangle that's 20 units wide by 10 units. Okay, and then of course 20 this way as well, but they didn't finish. Okay, so they have kind of an unfinished corner there, and you're asked to chamfer this corner. Well, you do it the same way as if that corner was complete, because it will still measure from this very corner right here. So whether I want to chamfer a distance or if I want to chamfer an angle, it will measure that from that particular corner. So chamfer again, and let's say we want to do a distance chamfer. Okay, let's say we actually want it to be even, like an even 45-degree chamfer, which would obviously be the same distance across both axes. So across our x-axis, we may want, that would be this top line, our first line that we're going to choose. Let's say 5, enter, and then specify the second chamfer, this adjacent line, which is on the y-axis. That's going to be 5 also. Enter. So then I click here, and then I click here, and you see in the preview how it adjusts that incomplete line. It goes ahead and it cuts it where it needs to cut, or it will extend it where it needs to extend. And then you can make your chamfer like that. So that is the chamfer tool. There is going to be an activity, an assignment right after this video where you'll have some instructions, and you'll have several different objects or rectangles that you will need to create and chamfer the corners on them. So look for that right after this video.